introduce my mentor, I'm sure by the time I finish his profile, or his bank profile, by the time I finish it, you will know truly why he is my mentor. We look alike, isn't it? with my great. Oh wow. Okay. DrTPS Sasikuma is from India. He's a life mentor, space scientist, science communicator, poet, author, educationist, motivational speaker, psychological life, career counseling expert, image building, peak performance coach, spiritual master with Himalayan tradition, conscious living for commune associate, exponent on India heritage, philosophy, Bhagavad Gita, and Sanatana Dharma. So far since 2000, for the past 20 years, reached to more than 1 million each teachers, parents, and students. I hope you get that one. TPS, teachers, parents, and students. So we are all his mentees. Hundreds of interviews on TV media, Discover TV with Kumba, Mela Talk, acting in short films. I'm really looking forward to see that. I really want to watch that. TEDx Talk, Unesco Talks, and Bhagavad Gita classes, workshops, and residential camp for 1,000. I'm also waiting and preparing to go for one of his camp very soon. And 48 hours non-stop classes, 6,500 students, including me, in a section for 6 hours. I'm looking forward to that. 50,000 public and 1,200 BTech in section special to TPS. If by any chance you want to connect with him, if you can see it on the screen, please do connect with him.
Namaskaram, thank you. It's a great privilege always to be with Prof.Dr.Queen Elizabeth, who is my sister. I think the maximum number of programs which I had in the past few years is with YYCI.
Thank you so much.
And it's just because she is kind and loving to me. So this time she wanted me to allow her to read my profile. I said yes. Otherwise I did not even share so far. And master class is always a master class. But probably the class becomes so good only when, as my brother just now mentioned, Luis Cardoso from Portugal. Nice to hear good English from the part of Portugal generally, right? And that too from the Dean of Academy of Education, Social Science, and the Director of Public Media. Great, I'm a scientist, I'm from science background. Social science education happens to be my passion. I was also director for the University Grants Commission, who takes care of the education in India as part of government. I was director for teaching teachers for so many years. And I was part of the director of that center for some time. I love teaching, I love learning, I love sharing, I love caring. Therefore, the past few months, when YYCE is discussing on the relationship, I thought I should not miss this opportunity. Actually, my invitation is for the next first month, I think, yeah, or the end of the month. But I requested for a reschedule because I am not available. I am traveling. After COVID, this is the time when I keep traveling. No? So I am constantly on move these days. I have chosen relationship. I spoke many times on the same platform. So I thought I must go a little deeper inside. And as in the introduction and earlier, Dr. Queen Elizabeth also attended few of my sessions on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is like Bible for Hindus. It is, Bhagavat means the Supreme, the God, the personality, the Ishvara. God is not a word to be used in India. Ishvara is who controls all the energy forces that governs the nature. And Gita means a song. So it is a song by God, a translation, in which there are a lot of lessons on how to build relationships. Because basically the lessons are for creating human beings. Just because you took birth with the two legs and standing straight, you cannot be called as human being. You are in the form of a human being, an animal, or maybe an animal in the form of a human being. To be human, we need to have the quality of human. Being human is human being. Being social is social being. It's very simple. So how do you become so social? How do you show your presence and actions which are not selfish, which are not for you alone, but to share and care for the whole world? The whole human being, the whole living being across the world, not just in your country, not just in your family, not just in your society, not just in your religion. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Let the whole world be happy. The message of Bhagavad Gita is how not to be sad. How can I be happy when people around me are suffering? How can I be happy when my neighbor is suffering? How can I have my breakfast when I have in the TV news somewhere in some part of the world people are suffering? I am not happy. We are pretending to be happy. So any materialistic comfort which we have is not the real life. The real life is something beyond. So we have to have an attachment to the society, an attachment to the world around, attachment to everybody around us, and to give us the courage and power to work so that we can solve their problems. One point. And second point, when somebody is suffering, how can I be so courageous in action where I can solve problems? Because there are a lot of problems in the world. I will be down, emotionally upset. I will be disheartened, discouraged, distressed, and my actions will not come out. So you have to balance. I should not become too much attached, but I should have attachment. So the whole song, 700 4-line slokas. Sloka is 4 lines. Verses 700 multiplied by 4. That many number of discussions. It is not one dialogue. It's a discussion between a mentor and a mentee. The God is a mentor and there is a mentee who asks a lot of questions. Why you should have all the courage and power? to fight for the goodness of the world. And don't get disheartened and start crying. Your actions are important. So what is important is to look at what good you can do. So that whole book is called the book of actions, motivation for actions, not motivation for crying on somebody's feelings, not motivations on getting disheartened and doing nothing. So what actions you have to do? And that book clearly gives a story, and this part is only a small part of a big book, and that small part is only giving advices. What is the story behind the whole big book? He is on part with 5 people to fight with hundreds of his cousin brothers who are all bad rulers. The cousins are the people who are ruling the country, and one person is getting motivated by Ishvara, the God, to fight against the ruling government. It's a beautiful story. And as part of the ruling government, his own teachers are there. His own grandfather is there, because it belongs to same family. But as an individual, your responsibility is not to the family, not to the teachers, not to your relatives, not to the religion which you belongs to, the kingdom which you belongs to. Your intimacy should be to the public cause. You stand for people. You should stand for people who are really suffering. It's a great book. So you should not get bounded. The bondage. You should not become a slave of your relatives. You should not become slave of your government. You should not become slave of your teacher also. If teacher is wrong, stand up and ask. In India, the Eastern philosophy, the Hindu never say that I am the God, listen to me. The God himself, the Ishvara himself says, question me. I am always answerable to you. You don't have to obey me. The whole story, the end, the Ishvara, the God himself says, you do as you wish to do. You think, your ability to think, your wisdom, your knowledge, you increase, come to a level. If you become a slave, you are doing it for somebody else. Don't do it for somebody else. Do it with your self-consciousness. Now let us get back to our own life, individual life. It is the lesson for a kingdom, lesson for a different era. Probably it would have happened 5,000 years back. It is almost in the earlier Yuga. Yuga means a huge, large number of time has passed after that. The world itself has gone for a revolution. And catastrophe after catastrophe would have happened. And that is how the story is not a story of our times. But the message in the lesson is still valid. How many years back? The historians dates it back to 10,000 and 10,000s of years back. And there, same story we can take it in our family relationship, office relationship, individual conflict within us. If you don't realize whom you are, you don't realize your values, you don't realize what is right and what is wrong within you, whatever you do will become totally disastrous. You will become distrust, you will become waste. So how do you realize the real relationship as attachment but not a bondage? So I thought I will give some lessons on this part of the comparison between the bondage and the attachment. These are two different concepts. No, It is one intensified attachment which makes you yourself as a servant of somebody else becomes a bondage. Few years back, almost 17 years back, I published this book, Life of Love. It's also available on my website. You can download it. In which I wrote sabotage relationships. The 19th poem is sabotage relationships. There are moments when relationships are sabotaged. Learn to perceive life, L-I-F-E. All my books are on L-I-F-E, life, with amazement, not in shock. Observe the delight in diversity, drudgery, entertain the wonders of contrasts. Don't kill it with cynicism and criticism. Enjoy its awesome appeal. Tickle it with the heart. Relate it to love. Open your eyes to appreciate the beauty in a different reality. So I understand that what happened some years back can be seen in today's life. Relationship itself becomes a rebel. Relationship itself becomes a rebel. Sometimes we destroy, we damage, we obstruct. That is what happened in Bhagavad Gita. But when I wrote this poem, it was not for the whole world to understand Bhagavad Gita. It is for each one of us to understand our relations are not sabotaged, by which we are not sabotaged ourselves. Because when we find ourselves so much close to somebody else, and that's what is happening around the world, right? We are so much close to the power and position where we are. We don't care what happens to the people around. So we are sabotaging ourselves. Why people engage themselves in self-sabotaging behavior and preventing us from achieving my goal? What is my goal? Every goal, if you keep on asking why, you end up in saying everything is to become happy. But how can I be happy in the beginning when I asked, when the whole world is suffering? So include your limiting behaviors, the fear of failure, your syndrome, the lack of the faith in you, lack of understanding your worth. Overcome that barrier. Achieve not my goal, achieve the goal of the world around me. So don't ever have, if it is around you, it's only your partner for the time being, see that you don't sabotage that relationship, don't sabotage you, and don't sabotage your friend also. We had a good dialogue in 2020 September almost time. During the COVID peak time, we didn't have so many occasions to move around. I had a lot of video programs in which one of the lesson was on this relationship with the social concern. How do you get attachment and bondage for the social concern? How do you relate yourself? The importance of social concern in the service of expanding the spiritual values in the world so that you can look beyond religion. Get into the spirituality, so don't speak about your religion. Any religion is good. Only thing, you must find reasons for being happy, not for my happiness, the happiness around the world. Achieving greater spiritual insight, emphasizing the importance of service and compassion without even asking which country you belongs to, which color you belongs to, which caste you belongs to, which religion you belongs to. Help everybody. So when you are restricting yourself with your relationship, it becomes a bondage. because you are bounded by the limit of your rashtra, the state boundary, limit of your profession, limit of your family, the physical, emotional, restrained, constrained, controlled relationships. That creates a lot of problems. The physical restraints and psychological manipulation. Your power as a person is being constrained. You don't have freedom. Your attachment becomes a bondage. And that happens even when a relationship of feeling insecure. What is relationship? Which gives us security, which gives us comfort, which gives us trust, compassion, faith. But all that will get damaged. A caregiving relationship will become a scaregiving relationship. We get scared of people. Oh, this person is my enemy. When? Until yesterday he was my friend. How he became my enemy? Because his demanding powers I am not able to support. You look from countries to country, families to family, person to person, the demand increases. Why the demand increases? Is it because of their helplessness? Or is it because of a bondage which you created? You can demand. Yes, your children can demand on the parents. It becomes demanding. It's not because of love. The attachment, which is natural, essential aspect of human development, with a healthy relationship for emotional well-being, overturns into a bondage of attachment, a degree of control, influence on the person, saying you are my student, listen to me, I have the power to give you certificate, listen to me, you are my subordinate, listen to me. It's a helplessness. You are my wife, you are my daughter, you are my son, you are my citizen, you belongs to my country, so I dictate what you are supposed to do. Different ways of looking at it. So what people do, it could be within the family, within relationship, fear, anxiety, helplessness. It is not a positive love, security, happiness. So we need to understand, why is it so horrible? Why is it so coercive? A threatening relationship, which people are dragged to divorce. People are dragged to commit suicide. The consent of consciousness, the spiritual wisdom, that is lacking. The bondage is about control, attachment is about connection and concern. Bondage is of control, attachment is of concern and connection, care, love, share. So avoid creating the sense of bondage. Create an empathy, mutual respect in relationship, so that everybody has got an independence. Individual is an individual. I have my identity. Create my own healthy boundaries. Understand before getting into a relationship. Yeah, maybe father to son, until they become adulthood, they have some control on the life. But after they become an individual, not so long a baby. Make them to understand. You engage in your activity, which gives you happiness. But give them a value sense that your happiness is not damaging somebody's happiness. Your space of personal growth is not prevented by the relationship which you start creating. Don't find fault with anybody. No friend is your enemy. You created a friendship, and that friendship, your selection was so wrong, they became your enemy. So it is your karma. That is where I am bringing Bhagavad Gita. What action you do is important. I created a relationship with somebody for a temporary happiness. Now it became overturning on me as a punishment on me. So my relationship, which I thought is a love, which has become a possessiveness, and I am not able to get out of that string, which is a bondage, because I did something wrong without assessing. I was not capable of assessing somebody. So what is essential? Relationship requires an effort, a commitment, understand the sense of freedom, autonomy, rather than restricting yourself, and do a good evaluation before you get into a strong connection. It's not a one-day affair. It's a trust building, mutual respect. That is where I connect to my brothers earlier. He was talking about, Louis was talking about the effective communication. The effective communication is not one way. It is dialogue. Understand what is that I am saying. Are you able to reflect upon, appreciate, show appreciation sometime. Actively listen. Communicate your thoughts and feelings effectively. You are not able to show sometime effectively because you are under the bondage. You become a slave of your reasoning ability. Oh, if I lose, what will happen? And you hide. So you are not honest. You are not volunteer. You are making it so sophisticated. No. Relationship should have an open. The fear of judgment. If I speak like this, what she will feel, what he will feel. So you are judging somebody's feelings and they are judging your ways of communication. So a fear of judgment, a fearful situation is created by the way you deal with the relationships. So therefore relationships are not healthy. So you have to work it continuously. You have to iterate. And it doesn't happen overnight. It changes by years to year. The wisdom increases as you become elder and older. And your relationship changes. So you cannot copy somebody's life story into your life story. So reading about the principles are only a basic principle. How do you relate to that? Maybe you have related to your life, but your partner did not even understand that philosophy. Because both of them are not reading the same book. Somebody is reading somebody's life, you are reading somebody's life. So the challenging times, compromising, disagreement arises. You have to have mutual agreement by disagreeing. Unconferencing is what is essential, not conferencing. Think like me is not what is required. Think like anybody else. Open communication. Listen to feedbacks. That improves relationship. And respecting each other's autonomy. The freedom. Commit to others' growth. Don't see that, no, I have to grow. Therefore, I need relationship. No. Healthy relationships are always to make your partner. Let it be a country, let it be a state, let it be a professional relationship or a family relationship, or maybe your partner. Last time when I was talking about relationship, I said romance is the best relationship in the world. But you must know that it is to grow professionally, wealthier, materialistic, relationship, social, physical, and spiritual growth. Patronize it. Prioritize the requirement of whom you love. I keep saying, when I love a beautiful cloth, it is not that I should wear. I should gift it to my friend. Because when you stand in front of a camera only, you will see. When your friend, a partner wears, always you are seeing it. So what you like should be given to somebody else. It's a pro-social behavior. Engage yourself in the pro-social behavior. Donate it to somebody else. That's what everybody does. When somebody becomes rich, he donates. But it should not be for his social status. It is for sharing. partner. Partner with the partners of partners. Not you. The whole society becomes your partner then. Because everybody is related. Every one of us are related. Before entering your relationship, understand as an individual what negative I have. What romantic relationship I should have with me first. If I don't start loving me, self-awareness, knowing internally what is my desire, what are my goals, what are my values, what are my personal boundaries, what is that I want to seek in my life, so that I know what I wanted to seek in my partner. If I don't understand as a country what is my ability, how do I relate with find a relationship with some other country? It is true with countries to country, individual to individual. Otherwise, you are in a cycle of disappointment. Your connections become so dull, bad, unsatisfied. And that is what the cause for suffering. And that suffering and in pressure becomes like a spring action. You react to others. And therefore, what is the reason for your pressure? Your disease, your control. It is the karma which you have done. You are not able to understand all the actions and consequences of your actions. All the actions and consequences of your actions. Who is responsible? Me as an individual is responsible. So there is no point in finding fault with somebody else. The importance of acting ourselves with an intention, with a responsibility of our own actions in our relationship creates a clean relationship. When you find fault with somebody else, the relationship spoils. So the Ishvara, the God in Bhagavad Gita says, you become responsible for all the actions which you do. Even God is not responsible for your actions. You have to aloof yourself and start charging yourself with your emotion. Get a question by yourself. And that is what is called yoga. That is why the meditation, self-reflection, self-realization, the inner peace, development of inner peace, attachment, understand yourself in various situations, how you have and how you were and how are you going to improve yourself. And therefore, your deal with the people around you, which creates relationship, becomes clean. The communications becomes clear. Otherwise, you are only pretending that you are communicating nice. Very, very essential to be an open person. And that is possible only when you realize yourself. So self-realization. The negatives of complexities in relationship cannot build healthy, fulfilling connections in the world. The curiosity of understanding people creates a lot of questions. So the Bhagavad Gita has lot of questions as the number of answers. Because if you don't have questions, you are only creating conflicts and no resolutions. The emotional attachment gives you a lot of freedom to ask questions. So all the negatives can be converted into positives. So balancing of a healthy relationship development, cultivating the sense of relationship with awareness, emotions, reactions, questions, answers, overcomes all the challenges in this world. And that is which is essential for getting a detachment from the bondage, but you are guaranteed in the attachment with the world. So understand, no bondage, but emotionally attached, but emotionally not in a bondage. You are like an attached detachment or detached attachment, and that gives you the honest volunteer partnership with Anybody with clear boundaries and not high expectations. No anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, fearful, judged dealings with anybody in this world. Open, clear. So what is essential for you? How do you think about life has to be filled? I always love to have LIFE, life. Live in full enjoyment. Learn in full enjoyment. Learning is an investment for future earning. Generally this is what I speak. But today, L stands for low and shaky self-esteem, which puts you down. And I, internalized beliefs, which is not clear, not understanding yourself. I, that can create troubles. F, fear of change, of unknown. You don't know the person who is around you. That can put you down. I never made an expansion LIFE negatively, but today I am making it. You have to have low self-esteem, creates bondage. Internalized belief creates bondage. Fear of unknown creates bondage. Excessive control, giving control on somebody else, that is what is bondage. With this, I think if we can come out of life from these LIFE, I am sure your life will become live in full enjoyment, because your life enjoyment is not inside you, it's around the world. So you can have your morning coffee without a bad news in the newspaper, without a bad news in the television. But I am sure all of us wake up in this morning with a lot of bad news around this world. We need to work towards a global change. We need lot of people to work for this global change. No, you cannot have it individually, because you are part of society, you are a social being, and you cannot be very happy when the society around is suffering, because you are a human being. So being human, being social to many number of people and not selfish to a few people, which is bondage. Attachment can be to everybody in the world. So pranams, thank you. I am so happy about this program, and then this platform always gives me to think different and think something new. But I will love to have lot of questions. If something has not come to my thought, probably your questions will trigger me to think. And I wish I have few questions which I cannot answer, so that I have a desire to live longer to find answers for my questions.
Exactly. Because asking questions is also a challenge for the speaker. Because not all the answers, not all the questions we can answer.
Thank you.
So that, and we always need, because I always believe that when you keep learning and you keep receiving new challenges, then you keep your brain working. And when you keep your brain working,
Glad.
You are not really close to dying yet. Because this world is a world of discovery, and we have to keep discovering by learning.
You know what discovering means? There is a cover and you discover it.
I'll say it again.
You have a cover, you discover it.
Discover. Oh,
So
wow.
something is hidden inside which is not visible to everybody. So our job is to remove the cover.
To remove the cover, and that is what discover.
Discover.
Oh wow, that's a good one. Let me write. Wow. Thank you so much, sir, Professor TPS. I have one question, please.
Only one?
The, you know, I have your WhatsApp. I can text you at any time. I just need to go back to the video, read it, listen to it, watch it, and then I ask it. And that is why we are making this video, to not just be within the circle of our YYCI. We want to go global now. And we want everyone in my own circle. I've got about 2,000 people on my own circle, Facebook or social media. So, and I believe that it is time for us to come out of our comfort zone and spread our message across, because you never know who wants that message at that time. Like today, I personally have learned a lot from Dr. Lewis, which they are new to me. And now you are talking about bondage, and I'm thinking, I've never looked at it in that way. So now that I'm listening, I say, oh wow, Professor TPS is coming out now with another challenge for me to want to know more. But anyway, I say one of the questions I need to ask, it might be the questions to bring you back, but I would love that. Actually, I have two questions, if you don't mind. The first one, I will start from the last question, and that is, can you explain better for us what you mean by pro-social behavior?
See, the society has problems, but they don't know they are in a problem. You ask somebody who is socially very low, are they happy? They are really happy. They may not get an internet connection, so they don't have problems of emoji connecting to internet, because their life is so low. You understand, in this world more than 70% of people are not connected to internet even today. So is it for us to make them happy in the style and state in which they are? I don't think. It's always science and technology who invented something for the betterment of the society. We have a bad proverb, old proverb. Necessity is the mother of invention. Actually, it is not true. Nobody wanted a cell phone. Some scientist created. That's a pro-social activity. I create something and then push to the society to see whether it is useful for you. You look at it. Do you think somebody wanted electricity when people never thought about electricity? People never thought about a television. People never wanted a telephone. Many people worked scientifically, and what are they doing? They are all pro-social. Got it? So we keep thinking. I wrote a book on how education can be on internet. How many years back? 17 years back. Last 3 years people are doing this. I wrote 17 years back. Education will be supported.
Can you turn the book
Yeah,
around?
this is adaptive learning, e-learning and teaching. And that time we didn't have a digital media other than the CD-ROM. Otherwise I would have given a better picture. So during those days of CD-ROM, I wrote a book which says teaching will become electronic. Got it? So I am sure scientists have to be pro-social. There may not be a problem in the world, but people are thinking, 5G is essential. Industrial revolution came. It is not because everybody in this country wanted the industrial revolution. That's what I am saying. There are a lot of people who suffer around us, but there are people who think beyond that future again, so that these people will also become part of us later. So we have to be pro-social, pre-social. Before they think, we should think. Our thought should be not for our benefit, but for the betterment of the whole world. Yeah.
Okay. So does that mean something like thinking generationally?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Please I get better understanding there. One more question and then I will let you go this time. Now the question also, can you please throw light to me or to every one of us that is watching this at the moment? Can you throw light to what you mean by self-sabotaging behavior?
Most of the time, that is what I'm saying, we are responsible for our actions. I have a relationship of dialoguing on topics of interest with YYCI because when Prof.Dr.Queen Elizabeth contacted me or I contacted you and we build a relationship, right? Assume I don't take care of our relationship in the manner in which you wanted me, by which what am I doing? I am sabotaging my relationship with you. Suppose I have a constant habit of doing this to many people around, what is happening? I am destroying my time, I am destroying my effort, I am destroying my whole actions which I am into. And I will start thinking about why is it happening to me? Actually, I am destroying myself. That's one reason for people to get into distress. So why am I in distress? So I'll tell you, my relationship with YYCA started along with some other a really influential academic activity around this internet which was almost raising during the COVID time. But now Louis is listening to me. I had a conversation with him. My number is there. He communicates to me. I communicates. Now Queen Elizabeth feels that how can I talk to Louis without my consent?
That's the problem in the world.
Many people do this. See, I display my number thinking that if somebody wants, and so liberal, so kind, so nice of you to tell that there is a contact, you contact, right? I don't think everybody does it. They think my contact with you is my personal affair, I should not share it. Then why are you on a network platform? Why are you on social media? The world is so open today, I can contact with anyone.
Yes.
I must be open to share with anybody else. Why should I think that somebody contacting me because through you I contacted? No, he is my friend, you cannot contact. Your friend is my friend. In mathematics there is a theorem. A implies B, B implies C, internally A implies C. If A is related to B, B is related to C, A is already related to C by then. You cannot restrict. You know, there are foolish people around this world. If I don't understand them and consider that, thinking that somebody really sabotaged our relationship, and I don't contact anybody else other than, and I stop contacting everybody, whom am I destroying? I am destroying myself.
It's true.
So I always believe that as long as you are with me, my relationship is good with you, it is good for you and me. I am not a beggar here. I am not here to help you. I don't want your help also. We share each other. I am not helpless. You are not helpless. I am sure if you are helpless, I am not going to contact you. See, we have a lot of helpless people around this world. We are not shaking hand with them. We only shake hand looking at our status, our relationship, whether we can maintain it or not. See, we look at physical people. Physically, people have to be, at least not in tandem with us. Then only we will go and shake hand with them. So, physically, emotionally, intellectually, socially, spiritually, 5 ways of evaluating people. If I don't evaluate, and that evaluation ability, that's why I said I have to understand who am I, what is my status. If I don't understand my status and go and shake hand with the Prime Minister, I will get arrested. I must have that status in which I can go and shake hand with the Prime Minister. I worked with the Prime Minister of India. You can see in my website, he is holding my hand. Does it mean Prime Minister of India will hold everybody's hand in the world? He will not. Correct. So, you maintain that relationship based on the status. Otherwise, either you go above or below, other than what is intended for you. You don't sit in the chair which is meant for you. You will be thrown out. So, evaluate yourself. Otherwise, you are destroying yourself. But always your ambition should be to grow higher and higher and higher and higher. You may be at lower, doesn't matter. If you are a millionaire, speak to a billionaire. And all billionaires and millionaires should allow others to speak to you so that you can lift them up. Got it? That is, otherwise you are destroying yourself. Your time is destroyed, your relationship is destroyed, your social status is destroyed, your mental health is destroyed. You will not be able to even talk to anybody in this world. So your intellectual growth is also destroyed. You must be very careful. Many people get distressed because their attitude is not set properly. So it's all part of attitude setting. Relationship building is attitude setting. So if somebody is not behaving properly to me, I must understand he is not the end and be all of this world. There are many more people who can be connected to me, and I am happy with them. And just because that person who has connected to me, now Dr. Professor Queen Elizabeth, a good friend of me, is also friend of him, I don't mind. It's your relationship. You maintain it because you are good in maintaining that. I am not good in maintaining that. So let me be away from him. No problem. So I have a detachment there, but I have an attachment with you. Always.
It's about discharging and it's about detaching and
Attaching.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure if I ask another question, that will be here till 1 o'clock. I don't want to do that. But you know that I have your telephone number, I have your WhatsApp, and if I still need, because this particular topic of today, from my two professors, it's a very key point.
Yeah, maybe my friend from Portugal, Luis, have some comments or questions or?
Yes, please. Yeah, please. And even Father Ron, as the priest, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Yes, sir. Do you want to comment on what DrTPS said? Dr. Louis is inviting you to say something.
Well, I'm just overwhelmed by the presentation that was made by DrTPS. I'm absolutely without words to express my admiration, and believe me, DrTPS, you are truly an inspiration for me today. So thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for meeting you in person, even through this platform, not physically in person, but it was absolutely outstanding to hear you, sir. And I look forward to have other opportunities to learn more from you and to become a better person, because today I feel that I learned a lot from you, and of course this is only due to our common friend Dr. Elizabeth Lucas. And so I have to thank also to Dr. Elizabeth Lucas to joining us. And this was an extraordinary opportunity to meet you, sir. And I hope we can meet again and listen to you again, sir. Thank you so much for everything you said and shared. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Louis. Father, do you have anything to say before we round up? First, I think.
Congratulations. I'm just
driving.
listening. Okay. I'm listening and I learn a lot from the speakers. Congratulations, po, especially on the Hindu process of understanding how God creates it. God bless.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. One of my mission is to reach out to great leaders and also to bring them to invite them to come and speak to myself and my mentees as well. They are not many, but everybody is calling him their mentor. I don't know about that. I don't know about that because I'm also a learner and I'm learning. The only thing I just try to do is not to be selfish, because it's okay for me to just pick up Professor TPS phone and then let him be sharing with me, or also phone Dr. Lewis and then do it personal. But because I don't want to learn alone. I don't want to, catch all this wisdom alone. And that is why we are establishing this YYCI, so that people can know that they can still learn new, they can still face new challenge, they can still change things around, they can still reposition themselves, and they can still, improve in their relationship. No matter how expert they are, they can still learn from others to improve and to develop ourselves and develop our relationship, and also to let them know that it's not only just by book or principle, but from the heart of people. Because when you speak from the heart, sometimes you are speaking from your own experience, from your own discoveries, from your own findings, from your own your own observing, and from your own experience too, your knowledge. So that is why it is so important that we invite you, all our great leaders, to come and share with us. I appreciate Dr. Lewis. I met him last year, and I'm so glad that he's coming again and again to come and share with us. Dr. TPS says something.
Doctor, I just want to connect a relationship between Dr. TPS and Lewis.
You know my second name, sir. You know my second name. Right from even when I was very young. My second name is Connector.
Okay. Louis, Dr. Louis, do you know that the first place when the Portuguese landed in India, Vasco da Gama?
Wow.
Yes, we have.
Who landed in the place where I am coming from? I am in the western coast of India, which is a small part called Kerala, in which there is a place called Calicut, and Vasco da Gama landed in that place. I was director for the university in that place only. I worked in that place.
Wow.
Well, it's great to know that, Professor, because we have strong historical connections between Portugal and India.
1498.
Wow.
And they were here. They were the people who dragged British to India actually. First Portuguese came, then Dutch came, then subsequently the British came. So Portuguese was the first people to land, Vasco da Gama.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. And now we are still connecting.
So I'm glad Portuguese, India and UK, all of those are together now.
And Philippines.
Philippines,
My dad
yeah.
is from Philippines.
Okay.
Amazing. Please feel free to connect with one another. I think I put the information for Professor TPS on the screen.